why are you in this college? Okay, and the why is highlighted, right? Why are you in this college? Have you heard this story? Have you heard this story? Anybody, on internet and all, the story of the 3 stone cutters? No? Okay, see, there was some construction work going on, okay, and a man came along and he saw that people were cutting stones, and there were 3 stone cutters in one place. They were cutting the stones. Okay, the man went to the first stone cutter and he asked, what are you doing? He looked up. First he was not looking up. Then he again asked, what are you doing? Then he looked up and said, can't you see what I am doing? I am cutting these goddamn stones. Okay, I want to feed my family and I have a lot of work to do. Don't disturb me, just get lost. Okay, fine. He went to the next person. He asked again, what are you doing? The second person was not as angry as the first person. He said, oh, I am doing my job. I have been given this assignment and I have to cut this much of stones. At the end of it, I will get my salary. I will go home. I will be happy. Okay, he said, see, the first person was cursing, this goddamn thing, I am cutting these stones. Second person said, I am doing my job. Okay, fine. He went to the third person. He asked him, what are you doing? And this person says, oh, I am building a beautiful cathedral. You know what a cathedral is, right? A temple or a mosque or whatever. See, actually what all the 3 were doing? They were doing the same work, right? They were doing the same work, all right. But when the first person said that, I am cutting these goddamn stones. Okay, this is my livelihood. If I don't do this, I don't have any food. Second person says, see, I have a job, I am thankful for that, and I am doing my job and I am happy. Okay, third person said that, I am building a cathedral. Okay, I am building a temple. So, this makes all the difference in your life. Okay, so you have to answer your why. Okay, you have to find out why are you here and why are you doing this. Can you answer? What, as dental students, what could be your answers? It's called the big why. Okay, you need to answer to the big why of your life. Why are you doing this? It could be that at the end of it, you will have a BDS degree and you will set up your clinic and practice, or you will join an institution like Azizia, a medical college, and you will get a PG also, and then you will become a specialist and then you will have a practice. Or if you are the third person, you will say that I want to put a beautiful smile on as many faces as possible, right? Or you could say that I want to, find a cure for oral cancer, correct? Or I want to make sure that all the school children, they are having excellent dental and oral hygiene, so that, because dental health is very important in childhood, right? So very important. So why are you here? See, this makes all, see, right now you feel stressed because you have chosen a very small why. Okay, in front of that small why that you have chosen, your small academic performance and the exam result is such a big thing. Okay, if your why is a big why, that itself will cure a lot of your problems. So, you have to, I am not saying that you all decide on a specific why. It need not be like that. You have to create your own why. Your past doesn't matter. From this moment onwards, what you have been in the past, what you probably you are here. See, you could be the first stone cutter, and if I ask you why you are here, your answer would be, my parents put me here. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands who all have that answer. My parents put me here. I did not want to come here. They wanted to me or this is the only thing that I got. Okay, and I am here. Or it could be that you chose it because you wanted a good job or something like that. But whatever is your past, today you have to create your future by answering this question: why am I here? It can change. You have to change it. Okay, you have to change it in such a way that it becomes a purpose of your life. Okay, only then will you be able to see that your small academic stress is nothing. All right, so let's do that. This is the definition of stress. Okay, each and every word, this is a very carefully drafted definition. Okay, each and every word in this is important. Stress is the dynamic response of the human system to change or perceived challenges to concepts of well-being. Okay, now why I say each word is important? See, stress is a dynamic change, right? What do you mean by dynamic? What is the opposite of dynamic? Static. Static means something that is fixed, right? Dynamic response means what? It is a changing response, right? It is a changing response. What is a changing response? See, for example, it's very simple. A changing response means that you can learn it. Okay, it simply means that if something feels stressful right now, at the moment, if something is stressful, if you learn how to handle it, later on it will become less stressful. Okay, or it can happen the other way also. If something is stressful now, if you don't learn how to handle it, it will become complicated. It will become more and more complicated. Okay, one example that I give is, you started having exam or studies related stress. Okay, if you find out solutions, then it will increase or decrease? It will decrease. If you find out solutions, it will decrease, right? But without finding solutions, suppose your studies are accumulating, you are not able to study, your topics are accumulating, what will happen? The stress will increase or decrease? It will increase. So it is a dynamic response. Same situation, either you can learn to make it better and less stressful, or you can make it worse. And response, again we come to the second word. What do you mean by response? How do you react to that? See, everybody who is facing a stressful situation has two choices. Okay, you can respond positively or you can respond negatively. Positively means you take it as a challenge and do the things that are required to overcome it. Negatively means, there are so many negative responses. A stressful situation, what do most people do? I'm not saying about your class, but most people, if something bad happens, you had a love affair and it somehow, you know that word, right? In Malayalam, what do you say? So that happened, and you are stressed. What do most people do, especially boys? No, don't go to that extent. Okay, no, don't go to that extent. No, see, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. See, listen to me. Nobody in this world is giving your life worth. Okay, not a single. You are the most worthy life in this world as far as you are concerned. You are the most worthy life in this world. Don't ever think that another person is worthy of giving your life away. Okay, you have to make yourself at the end of this, that is very important. You have to make yourself in such a manner that you are the most worthy person in your life. Okay, don't give your life just like that away for the name of anybody. But what I was trying to say is that usually when as a negative response, usually when something bad happens, you either resort to alcohol or smoking or drugs, and commonly boys do that. But what girls do is that, what do girls do? They nowadays girls also do all those things, but what do normally they do? They either start eating, okay, they start eating, or they stop eating, or they become depressed. They become, see, alcoholism in men is equivalent to depression in women, or other way around. Depression in women is more common because men tend to go to alcohol and women tend to go to depression. These are equivalent factors. When they face stressful situations, men they resort to alcoholism and women they go into depression. So these kind of things, that comes under the response. Human system means, what are you made of? What are you? See, cells, all those biology thing we will keep aside. Commonly, you have what? You have a body. Only body is there? What is there? What else is there? Soul is there. Have you seen your soul? Anybody can show me your soul, please? Body is there, of course. Mind is there. Then third thing, why you want to, when somebody is doing something, why do you want to do, what you have? Emotions, right? Emotions you have. And then finally what makes all the difference between people? The level of energy, okay. These four things you have, right? So these four things can be managed. So it is a response of the human system. At 4 levels it happens, okay. To what? Coming to a new college is a change or not? Big change for you, right? So what you are actually experiencing right now is a response. Stress is a response to change. Okay, change. You have experienced a change, and your body, mind, energies, emotions, all these things are responding to that change. But remember, it is a dynamic response. You can control it. Okay, to change or to perceived challenges to concepts of well-being. Okay, now this is the last one we will take. This is very important. Concepts of well-being. Okay, when you were until your +2, you were enjoying life like anything. Your well-being concept was that of you pampered by your parents and all those things are happening. Your concept of well-being was fixed there. Okay, now suddenly that concept is changed. You are in a medical dental college, staying in hostel and all those things, and you see it as a perceived challenge. Perceived challenge means it is not a real challenge. It's not a real challenge. It is your perception. Okay, now this is a challenge. You have this much book to study. Now you are perceiving it as a challenge. If you have this much big book to study, this small book will not be a perceived challenge. So it is your perceived challenge, right? So this is the definition of stress. It says almost everything. If you understand the definition, it is a dynamic response. You can change it, how you respond to it. The response could be positive or negative. Of the human system, okay, all the 4 components you must remember, to change or perceive challenges to your own concepts of well-being. Correct? Alright? Okay. Now, a little bit of science, you don't mind, right? You are all science students, right? How stress happens. Okay, the stress response system starts in the brain to the kidneys, and it spreads over the. This is the physiology of stress. Okay, if you are interested in this, see, this is how it happens. Okay, amygdala. There is a portion. See, our brain has so many parts, but we can broadly divide it into 2 parts. Okay, the primitive brain and the modern brain. Okay, the inner thing that you see, those colorful things, are the primitive brain, or you call it the reptilian brain. Even small animal, all the lower animals have that brain. Okay, but human beings, that white thing, white and yellow thing, the big thing, that is what makes us human beings. Okay, that is what makes us what we are. So in the primitive brain, there is one green thing that you can see that, right? That is the fear center. It is called as the fear center. It is called as the amygdala. Amygdala. Okay. When a change or a challenge comes, the amygdala sends a signal to the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the autonomous command center for every animal. This is there. Okay, and it sends a signal to the pituitary. The pituitary secretes the hormone called ACTH, and the ACTH is adrenocorticotropic hormone. Okay, ACTH sends a signal to the adrenal cortex, and the adrenal cortex secretes cortisol, and cortisol is the hormone that prepares you for the challenge. Okay, and also there is another thing. The hypothalamus also directly stimulates the adrenal medulla. What does adrenal medulla secrete? Adrenaline, noradrenaline. Physiology, you have learned these things, yes or not? Okay, so cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, all these hormones, they create a response called what? The stress response. Okay, see, this was very important in our primitive days. When we were more like animals, cave dwellers, we used to have threatful situation when? All the time, right? All the time threatful situations were there, and all the times you have to be taking your pitchfork and look what animals are coming. Okay, because animals and dangers were almost always there, correct? So at that time this stressful reaction was very useful. That is why this job is given to the primitive brain, that small colorful portion of your brain. That is why the job is given to that part of your brain. Okay, but what happened is that we developed the cerebral cortex, but we did not learn how to manage this much mental power. So now, do you have any mammoth coming and attacking you? Tigers? No, right? At the most this madam is there. And madam is not at all a tiger. She is a sheep or a dove. She wants to help you in whatever way you want. Okay, so what is happening is that in spite of our safety and you are safe, right? Are any of you experiencing safety problems? Nothing, right? Your survival, today's and tomorrow's food is ensured. Yes, you don't have to go hunting, right? Or you don't have to wait for somebody to hunt and bring and give this to you, right? No, right? Food is ensured, safety is ensured, all those things are ensured. Still we are facing stress, right? We are facing stress because we have lost control of our big brain. Okay, and see, for everything we are stressed. From driving our dream car in the traffic, we are stressed, right? We are going in our dream car and traffic is there. So what we should do? We should relax because you are in your dream car, more time in your dream car, right? But little bit of traffic means we lose control. Dream life, you marry your dream life partner, then you continue that thing. You get a dream job. This is what happens. You get your dream course. This is what happens, right? Your life is not in threat. Your security is taken care of, your food and everything is taken care of. Still, if you keep on stressing yourself, so much of bad things are going to happen to you. Every system of your body is happy because this cortisol, adrenaline and noradrenaline, they are the stress hormones. They keep creating free radicals and this will keep on damaging your health in so many ways. Now, we are coming to the solution part. Okay? Now, from here, the real the process starts. Formula for stress. Okay, if you understand this formula, immediately you will know the solution. Right? Let's see the formula. Stress is the difference between what you want and what you can, or stress is equal to what you want minus what you can. See, you all want something? you all want something, right? Suppose what you want is this much, okay, and what you can is this much. Are you going to be stressed or not? Yes. See, if you want big things and what you actually can is only very limited, very small, then to achieve that you are going to struggle, right? You are going to struggle, and this is stress, yes or no? But that could have been okay, but unfortunately the formula is not complete. There is one more thing. Multiplied by others who want the same. Okay, simple example I will tell you. You all become BDS, and what you want? You want jobs, right? But say only one job post is available. There is an advertisement, there is a vacancy of one post, all of you are applying. Is it going to be stressful or not? Yes. How much stressful? 100 times more stressful, right? See, suppose you have, your desire is to get a job and your ability is this much, okay, you can understand the difference, you can understand, but at the same time 100 other people are looking for the same job. Means what? Your stress is 100 times more, okay. Now you get the formula, you understand the formula. This is, that previous definition got simplified into this formula, alright. Now, in other words, to even more put it in simple terms, this is the formula. Stress is equal to aspirations means what? What we want, right? Our desire, our aspirations, what we want, minus capabilities into competition. Make sense to you? The difference between our aspiration and capabilities multiplied by competition. Now, it's quite simple, okay. If you want to reduce your stress, you can do that. Any maths geniuses in this class? How can you, now the formula is stress is equal to aspirations minus capabilities into competition. To reduce stress, what all you can do? Oh, everybody wants to increase capability. What are we? Let's start with aspirations. Let's take the first one, aspiration. What you will do with aspiration to reduce stress? What should you do? Reduce. So take aspirations first. Okay. Your aspirations are there. Your capabilities are here. Now, if you want to deal with aspiration, what you have to do is to reduce your aspirations towards your capabilities. Now, no stress. Okay, so that is why most people either stay at home or do nothing. See, this one thing you have to understand very carefully. Okay, most people choose this path because they are not able to handle their stress, they will reduce their aspirations and dreams and ambitions to such a low level that now no capabilities are needed. You stay at home, do whatever you see, and I'll tell you one very important thing. Don't look at me and say this is not applicable to me. Okay, I'm already in dental college. I have my aspirations, big aspirations. But you know what? Something terrible I have seen happening to a lot of my students, especially my female students. Okay. I don't know when I say I used to be professor and HOD of preventive medicine here. I was the vice principal also here for some time. I have around 16 to 18 years of teaching experience in medical colleges. I have seen, the batch will be like this, full of girls, few boys sitting in the back. Okay, but when they come out, most of these girls, they choose to stay at home for various reasons. They don't, they don't even set up a clinic or a practice. So what I'm saying is that you end up, because what happens is that when you get married, that is a new stressful situation, right? You may have fanciful ideas about marriage and all, but marriage is a hugely stressful situation. After getting married, huge change has happened to your life, right? You are with an entirely different person in an entirely different situation. So that stress will force you to do so many things, and you will just compromise on your aspirations and dreams. Okay, this is the worst way to handle stress. Okay, killing your dreams and aspirations is the worst way to handle stress. Okay, what to do with your aspirations? What does that mean? Non-inclusive or inclusive? You have only two choices, right? Either you bring your aspirations down or you take your aspirations up. But the problem is that, see, now you are having an aspiration to become a dental doctor. Okay, you are probably thinking that I will set up a clinic or I will get a job. But again, this is going to be stressful because it's not an easy thing. Okay, especially the competition is also there, right? So what you need to do is that you need to bring your why factor into this. Understand this very carefully. We learned about the why factor, right? Why are you doing this? This why factor will help you set your aspiration to such a level that, see, for example, I'll tell you, suppose your aspiration is to just to pass your exam. Okay, why you are studying now? You want to pass your exam. A little bit of pressure comes, then you will collapse. Okay, but suppose your aspiration is to, say, find a cure for oral cancer, or find a preventive measure for oral cancer, or make sure that all the children are having good dental health in the country. If you set that kind of an aspiration, this you call an inclusive aspiration. You understand the difference? Non-inclusive means your aspiration has got only to do with you. You are not including anybody in your aspiration. Okay, I want to become a doctor, I want to pass exam, I want to get a job, I want to earn a salary, I want to live a decent life. When your aspiration includes only you, little bit of challenge and stress comes, you will buckle. But if your aspiration is so huge that it involves the well-being of all the people, a lot of people, your work will help a lot of people, then suppose a little bit of obstacle comes, will you buckle? No. See, your dream, suppose your dream is to find a cure for cancer. I am not saying that everybody should have that dream, but suppose your dream is to find a cure for cancer, then what is this exam then? Do you understand? Then this exam becomes a tiny bit of a thing on the path. Do you understand? Then the exam will not stress you at all. Then it becomes part of the process. Your aim is so big that nothing is going to stop you. No small challenges are going to stop you from reaching that aim. So what you need to do with your aspirations is that you not only increase it, you widen it so much that it becomes inclusive with a greater goal, with a greater purpose, that nothing in front of that vision, that dream, nothing is going to stop you when these small hurdles and challenges come in your life. Do you get the point? Now capabilities. Capabilities, what you have to do? Increase your capabilities to match your aspirations, right? Now, once you have set your aspirations to those levels, definitely if you don't increase your capabilities, you will never be able to reach your aspirations. Okay, now how to increase your capabilities? You already said you have 4 parts. You are a human system, right? Okay, those who are saying you are soul also, you take it as 5. Okay, of course it is there, it may be there, but we have now in our hands we have 4, right? We have the body, we have the mind, we have the emotions, we have the energy. See, of all these things, which do you think is the most important? See, you have a body, you have a mind, you have emotion, but suppose you don't have energy to do what you want. Yes, energy is an all-encompassing factor which if you take care of, your physical, your mental and your emotional health all will be taken care of. Okay, so all these things I am going to deal with in terms of energy. Okay, your aim is to see, if you have to be able to Now, see, little bit of stress comes, and why you buckle? Just look into that. You buckle because you don't have the energy to overcome it. Okay, you don't have the energy. So, all your physical problems, your mental problem, your emotional problems can be taken care of if you always have high levels of energy. So, as far as increasing your capabilities are concerned, the main and most important thing that you do is to increase your energy levels. Okay, energy levels increasing involves the body, the mind, emotions, all those things are involved. Okay, but primarily you have to take care of your energy levels. Okay, now because do you know that human body is an energy system? Where does the energy come from? Where does your energy come from? See, you take yourself as whatever you are. What all are there? Body is there, right? Where does the body come from? Huh? Where does it come from? It comes from the earth, right? Yes or no? It comes from the earth. The body comes from the earth, right? Where does the energy come from? Yeah, you're correct. It comes from the sun, right? So, that is what, see, we are a combination of earth and sun, correct or not? I don't know all the philosophical things, this is simple science, okay. We are a combination of what? Earth, or in other words, a little bit of sun captured in little bit of earth. If it functions very nicely, you have a wonderful life, correct? If it functions very poorly, you have a poor life. This is all that is there, and you can say so many things about that, but it is simply that a little bit of earth has captured a little bit of sun's energy and it is playing with that energy, right? This is a game going on with a little bit of, and you have a lifespan, or just like your video games. You play video games, you have a character which has life, right? So much of life. You are having little bit of energy captured in little bit of earth, and you need to know how to manage this. Okay. Now, how many of you are able to capture sun's energy directly? Photosynthesis, anybody doing photosynthesis here? No? Nobody doing photosynthesis? You need to know how to manage your energy, right? How do you do that? There are 5 methods of doing that. Okay. Energy sourcing, energy efficiency, energy maintenance, energy poisoning, which is to be avoided, and energy tuning. Oh, fancy words, right? It's very simple actually. In order to make you understand the importance of energy, I am using these terminologies. What is energy sourcing? Where do you source your energy from? Directly from the sun? Then food, right? So your food has to be healthy. First, simple, is your food healthy? Now, what kind of food gives you maximum energy? That you have to see. This is a food pyramid, right? What do you mean by a pyramid? Base is what? Broad. Apex is narrow. So, what does that mean? What is on the base you should use more. What is as it goes up towards the apex, you should use less and less and less. See, in order for you to maintain a high energy level, you need to always stay well hydrated. Okay, that is, what percentage of you is water? What percentage of you is water? 90. 70. Yeah, 60 to 70% of this is water. So the most important thing that you should be taking in is also water. But most of you don't drink water, right? How many of you carry water bottles? Oh, all of you carry water bottles. Okay, those of you don't carry water bottles, you should carry water bottles. Then comes the energy giving food, right? What? Cereals, rice, pulses, all those things. Then comes the most important group. Okay, the most important group is the middle one, fruits and vegetables, especially raw, uncooked fruits and vegetables are the highest energy yielding, or even the cereals and other things, they are able to release their energy because of the vitamins and other things contained in the fruits and vegetables. Okay, only then comes your favorite food items. Okay, until fruits and vegetables is your non-favorite food items. Above that comes all your favorite food items. So you have to make sure that you minimize the consumption of those things that will reduce your energy. See, why I'm not against eating non-veg food or anything like that, but you must understand why non-veg food items reduce your energy levels. See, simple example I will ask you. You take a heavy meal, chicken biryani you have had or mutton biryani, whatever your favorite. After having that in the noon, if you come and sit in the class, what will happen? Your energy level will be high or low? Low. But at the same time, if you have a glass of juice and come, for a period of time it will be high. You won't feel sleepy, right? You won't be, I'm not saying that you should have a juice instead of your lunch, but this is the idea. Okay, why does heavy food like meat reduce your energy level? See, it is already in the form of a complex molecule. Okay, in the body of an animal, it is already in the form of a complex molecule that has to be broken down into very simple molecules. So what happens? A lot of energy is needed for that breaking down. And again, when you break down something complex, what will be generated? A lot of waste products will be, unnecessary products will be generated, right? So that has to be disposed of, right? So that is toxic for your body. So that will take a lot of effort and energy. So that is why when you take heavy meals, especially animal food, your energy levels actually go down. Okay, but simple fruit juice or vegetables, it contains all kind of simple compounds which can directly be absorbed and synthesized into whatever you need for your body. Alright, so that is why you have to minimize those things and maximize these things. Understand? It's as simple as that. So this is something that you have to, over a period of time, you have to practice and make conscious choices about doing these things. Energy efficiency means what? How many of you do regular physical activity? Huh? There is yoga class? Oh, great. Practicing every day? Yes. All right, that is good. I'll be mentioning about that also. If you are not at all having any physical activity, daily physical activity, this is an exercise you can practice. Okay, it's called the burpee. This is a very effective exercise. What you do is that you squat down, put your palm on the floor, push your legs backward, do one push up, bring your leg back, stand up and a jump. Okay, stand up and a small jump.
Hi guys, I'm Ruben Belliard from Warrior Fitness Bootcamp here in New York City. Today we're going to go over how to do a burpee. A burpee is a very fun but challenging exercise. It's great because again, it works all of your muscle groups in your body and it gives you a good cardiovascular workout if done correctly. So we're going to start off, there's a few steps. We're going to break each step down. I'll give you some tips on how to perform each step and then we'll perform the whole movement. So the first step, I want my feet shoulder width apart. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop my hands down to the floor. All right, straight down to the floor. Make sure my hands are flat on the floor. I don't want to be on my fingertips. I want weight on my palms. The next step, I'm just going to jump my legs straight back and I should land in a push-up position. And when I'm in this position, a few things I'm looking for. I'm going to make sure that my shoulders are over my hands. My back is straight, my hips are up. I'm not rocking back. I don't want to end up in this position. I want a good solid push-up position. Once I'm down here, I'm going to drop down, do a push-up, and come right back up. All right? Very basic push-up. Then I'm going to hop my feet right back forward. Okay? I'm hopping forward again. My hands are still flat on the floor. The tendency once we get to this position is kind of to rock up because we know we're going to stand up, but force yourself. Stay down there for a split second, and then I'm going to jump up, reach up, and come off the floor, then land. So that's how you do a burpee. Those 4 steps, we're going to put them together. So it's put your hands down, kick it down. The moment your feet touch the floor, you should be going right into the push-up, coming back up, hopping up, and jumping up, all right? So that's how we do a burpee.
This is very, very simple to do, but very effective. Whole body is activated, okay? And the advantage is that you don't need to have, you know, any equipment or any of those things, you know, just your body length of space is enough, okay? And it gives exercise from hand to toe. Whole body gets, it's called the burpee, B-U-R-P-E. You can search the internet and find out more about it. Energy maintenance. How do you maintain energy? So we have covered two things: energy sourcing, energy efficiency we have covered. Third thing is energy maintenance. How do you, this is your favorite activity? Getting quality sleep is very important. Okay, getting quality sleep. Are you all getting quality sleep? Yes, no doubt about it. Okay, but if you are not, here are a few tips. Avoid caffeine and alcohol, all those things. Tea, coffee before sleep. Okay, you have to avoid. Keep regular sleep schedule. Exercise early. Follow a relaxing bedtime routine. Go to bed only when you are sleepy. Use the bed to sleep, not to work. Make your bedroom a comfortable place to rest. Avoid naps. Follow doctor's guidance. If you have any sleeping disorders, you have to follow that. And change your electronic habits. That means don't take your phone to your bed. Okay, you are not taking anyway. So these are, and energy poisoning you have to avoid. Okay, I hope none of you do any of these things. And finally, the last one is energy tuning, which I am glad that most of you are doing. Okay, thing about yoga meditation is that it is called energy tuning. I'll just give you the reason why it is so useful, okay, so important. You already said that you are a body and energy, all those things. Okay, have you seen those old radios which need to be tuned? Nowadays the radios need to be tuned. It is auto tuning, right? See, when the radio is there without tuned, it is all by itself, right? It is all by itself. And what kind of noise it will make? All those sputters and chatters and all those scratching sounds it will make, right? It will make its own sound. It will make its own sound. But when you tune it, what are you actually doing? You are connecting it to a particular frequency, right? Which is connected to the what? Radio station, right? Radio is a small thing, radio station is a big thing. Similarly, we are a small entity, right? But the universe is a big entity, right? When we connect to something, when the radio connects to the radio station, it starts what? Singing the song, right? It starts singing the song given by the radio station. Similarly, you all have a song to sing, but you will get it only from the radio station. A radio station is, you can call it anything. You can call it the universe, or you can call it God or soul or whatever you can call it. But what yoga meditation does is that your noise it will reduce. Right now you are all having your noise. What you are doing is your noise is going on, right? Your noise it will reduce and it will connect to the radio station. You can call it whatever by name, okay? And the song will start coming. That will be your song, okay? Everybody has a song to sing. And this is again a very important thing, brain balancing. What are these two things? Head and heart. You have this problem, this head and heart problem. Head says one thing, heart says another thing. What is this head and heart? What is this head and heart actually? Does the heart say anything after all? You all studied anatomy, physiology, right? Does the heart say anything at all? No, right? What it does? It only pumps. But you know that there is something called heart, right? It says something, right? Where is the location? It's actually like this, okay? From a scientific point of view, what you call your heart is actually your what? Your right brain, okay? What you call your heart is your right brain. Most unfortunate thing is that most people use only their left brain. Most people use only their left brain, okay? All the dull and boring things that your anatomy textbook, your physio, all those studies and work and all those things, analytical things. See, left brain activity, right brain activity. Left brain is what? Academic. Right brain is what? Creative. Okay. Left brain is detail oriented, logical, sequential, rational, math, analytical, objective, all those things. Right brain is what? Big picture, random, intuitive, holistic, synthesizing, subjective, using feelings, imagination, symbol. See, in putting in a nutshell, all the beautiful things about life is taken care of by the right brain. Left brain takes care of what? All the survival things. Okay, all the survival things. See, all the survival things is taken care of by what? The left brain. See, one of the major reason why you feel stressed is because only your left brain is going on. Only your left brain is going on. You are not mixing your left brain activities with your right brain activities. So, if you bring in right brain in any stressful situation, you bring in a right brain activity, your stress will immediately reduce. Okay, so that is why this is shown here. Actually, the question, do you have wings? Actually, these are your two wings. Your left brain and your right brain are your two wings. Okay, if you use both of them in a balanced manner, you will be able to fly. Okay, so you have two wings, but most people use only their left brain. Okay, now one of the suggestions that I will make is how to increase your right brain activity. Formula for success, again we coming to the, until now what all we have dealt with? Aspirations and capabilities we have dealt with. Now we are coming to competition. Now how to deal with competition? Any idea? How will you deal with competition? Can you go and kill all the competition? How will you deal with competition? Skills. Okay. You see, you have now got a very wonderful vocation, a wonderful profession. Make yourself so skillful that you are difficult to catch. You understand? Make yourself so skillful that it is very difficult to catch you. And second thing is, see, first thing says be really good at what you do. Second thing says be really good at getting good. You understand? Which means that you have to keep learning newer and newer things. You have to keep learning newer and newer things. Third thing is specialize. Now this is the most important thing that you should do with your skills. You have to specialize, because today you are living in a world where anybody who is having a Facebook account is an expert. Can you be or not? Can you, have you seen all those YouTube channels and Facebook pages where some nonsense they keep on saying, right? And they have how many million followers? Have you seen that? Have you seen? So today you are living in an age of opportunity where whatever you are good at, you will get followers. Okay. So I am not saying that you all start a Facebook page or channel, but I am saying is that you can all become experts in one thing or another. Okay. Specialize, become an expert. And last thing is collaborate. See, if you are looking at killing competition, this is the best way to do that. Okay. What does that mean? Collaborate. This is the best. See, if you have an enemy, how to destroy the enemy? By making that enemy your friend. That is the best way to destroy the enemy, right? He is no more an enemy, and if he is your friend also, you will benefit. See, for example, I will give you one very simple example from this institution, sir. Your director. What is his qualification? He's a dental doctor, right? Yes, director is a dental doctor. Forget about his background and everything. I'm just giving the example. Okay, he could, after BDS, he could have started a clinic or a job, but he started a institution, right, where many other people joined and they are working for him, right. This is the best example of collaboration. Okay, if he started a clinic, all these people would have been his competition, but when he started an institution, all are their collaborators. Okay, similarly today you don't need to have a building like this or anything. See, for example, I have a platform called Stress Dial. Okay, you went to that platform, right? You did your stress level. That platform has a number of psychologists working under that platform from all over India. An online planner, just a website, right? Best example of collaboration. Okay, many hundreds of people, thousands of people are having stress problem, just like you. We created that platform in which all the counselors and psychologists are on that platform. Simple example of collaboration. Okay, killing competition through collaboration. Now, how to become an expert? Identify your area first. Once you have identified your area, what you need to do is that know, do, tell, repeat. Okay, what does that mean? See, suppose, I don't know, I am just saying, say root canal treatment is my area. I am taking one simple example that I know from your dentistry. Okay, say root canal treatment is my area that I have identified. Okay, know means what? Every day I will try to know something new about root canal treatment. Okay, do means what? I will try, with that knowledge, I will try to do something on a daily basis or whatever frequency. Okay, and if I know and if I do, then what I should do? I should tell. Okay, tell. Why? See, unless you tell, nobody will know that you are an expert, right? So, know, do, tell, repeat. Repeat what? So, know, do, tell, you repeat. Okay, once you have identified your area, you keep knowing more, because the science is evolving, right? You keep knowing more and more about it. Okay, then you do something about it and you tell telling the world today, is it easy or not? This is the easiest time to tell something to the world. Or people are telling all kind of rubbish. You can tell them something valuable, right? So if you keep doing this, you will become an expert. Network. Network means, how do you network? Again, through, these days how do you network? Social media, right? You network through social media. Which is your favorite social media? Facebook? Instagram? How many of you use LinkedIn? Show me your hand. You haven't even heard of it, right? How many of you are on LinkedIn? Show me your hands. See, I'll tell you this thing. To be successful, LinkedIn is the most important social media platform. Okay, most of you, how many have heard of LinkedIn? See, just a few of you, but none of you have a LinkedIn account, right? LinkedIn is a professional platform. Okay, it's a professional platform. If you don't have LinkedIn, you must get it today itself. Now, LinkedIn, it is a professional network, and in LinkedIn there is a feature called LinkedIn articles. Okay, if you keep posting one article about your area of interest, small articles, 500 words. Okay, something new, you find out your area of interest, say root canal treatment, something new has happened, you write a small article and post. This gives you the greatest visibility in the entire world. Writing LinkedIn articles, as of today, in the coming future, say 5 years also, LinkedIn articles will give you the greatest visibility towards becoming an expert. Okay, So this is something that you all need to do beyond LinkedIn. Okay, we are speaking about becoming how to beat competition here. Okay, how to study, which is the best method for studying. Now I will tell a story of mine. You must know this. Just like you, first MBBS. See, in school and all, I was very good student. Okay, but when I reached MBBS, first MBBS, my first internal exam, there were 4 subjects: anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and community medicine. All 4 I terribly failed. Okay. Second exam also, all I terribly failed. Second internal exam. And towards my university, my internal averages were so less, and you must remember those were the times where 50% will fail anyway. In university exam, almost 40 to 50% will fail anyway. My internal averages were so poor that I was almost sure to fail. But somehow, somebody up there or down there, I don't know, somebody wanted me to pass, I passed. But in second MBBS, I changed my strategy. Okay, I changed my strategy. I used a different strategy, and when second MBBS university results came, I was class topper. Now what is that strategy? It's a very easy strategy. If you implement it, I can guarantee you, I don't know, some of you may already be doing that, but what I did was very simple. Okay, I identified a close friend of mine. Okay, he was also struggling just like me. Okay, just like me, he was also struggling with studies, and I identified him. I told him, say, see, if this goes like this, either you are going to die of stress or we are going to fail everything thoroughly. Okay, so we said, let's every day evening, let's sit together, 1 hour. 1 hour, let's sit together. One topic you learn and come, a different topic I will learn and come. What I learn, you don't learn. What you learn, I don't learn. Okay, come here, this 1 hour, first half an hour, I will teach you my topic. I will teach you what I have learned. Next half an hour or total time could be 1 hour, 1.5 hours, like that, depending on the topic. Next half an hour, what you learned and come, you teach me. Okay, now this become a daily thing and it becomes so effective. So what I will do is that now my purpose is to learn this topic to teach that idiot, and his purpose is to learn that topic and teach me whom I am also an idiot. Okay, so we were learning it so thoroughly, we were doing all the references, and this was happening daily also. Now the learning has become so deep and so, see, when you are learning something to somehow push over the exam, this becomes a very volatile process. But when you are learning something to teach someone else, now suppose your teachers come here and they just come and do something and go, will you able to be retain something or not? No, they have to do all the hard work, right? So that is how we started learning, and at the end of, I still remember during the exams time, everybody will be dying with their books, we will be sitting and laughing and telling stories and going in the bus. We had a college bus. There has to be a system where you identify one person. It should not become a big group. What happens in a big group, right? Two or maximum 3. Okay, so it is called study pair teaching learning. Okay, best is 2 people, maximum 3 people. Otherwise, it will become all the different discussions and all that. Focused 1 hour or 1.5 hours, not more than that daily. Every person learns and comes one topic, which the others need not learn and come. and this person teaches them the topic. Everybody takes their turn teaching that particular topic. Okay, the results will be amazingly high. Okay, even after saying this, I am not sure how many of you will do this, but this is the best and most effective studying technique. Okay, there is no doubt about it. De-stress steps, already you are having a long list of things to do, but you know, most important thing in the long term, if you want to be free of stress, you have to prepare on a daily basis. There is no other shortcut for that. Okay, in the intermediate term, energy, and I have taught you 5 energy techniques, right? Energy sourcing, energy efficiency, energy maintenance, avoid energy poisoning, and energy tuning, which already you are doing. Now, the immediate, now if you, in spite of all these things, you are still feeling stressed, then you can practice this. This is called box breathing. Okay, box breathing is a conscious breathing technique. Okay, if you practice, that immediate stress levels can come down. How to do box breathing is very simple. This is why it is called a box breathing. Okay, one thing, don't start breathing right now. Okay, you have already started box breathing. You must understand the technique. Okay, see, both inhalation and exhalation, it has to be slowly, gently and fully. Okay, what? Slowly, gently and fully. You know how to do that, right? Slowly, gently, fully, then hold for how long? 2 seconds. Okay, slowly, gently, fully, 2 seconds hold. Exhale, slowly, gently, fully, 2 seconds hold. Continue that. Okay, if you, for how long you will have to do? For how long you will have to do? No need for 10 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes is enough. Don't do this. Okay, while breathing, if you do like this and breathe, then people will think that something is going on. Just sit. How will you sit? Sit on a chair, relaxed manner, comfortable, relaxed manner. You box breathing, do box breathing by lying down. You know, you will sleep off because it is a very relaxing technique. Okay, so you do it sitting upright, relaxed. Gently inhale, hold for 2 seconds. Gently exhale, hold for 2 seconds. When all can you do that? Whenever you sit for studying, if you do this, you will be relaxed. In between, you get stressed, then also you can do this. Okay, and most importantly, before starting your exams, you should do it. In any exam, 2 minutes, sit and do this. You will, all the things you think you have forgotten will start coming back. Okay, you may have studied and have forgotten this, it will all start coming back. Okay, so compulsorily before writing the exam, but if you don't study and do box breathing, nothing will come. That is another thing. Okay, you understand?